Alright, yo fam, what is up? You are back for another video with DataZero. This is your daily outlook and prediction for stocks and crypto. Of course, not financial advice. Let's go ahead and hop into charts, facts, data, and show you guys what's going on for the day with the meme stocks and the stock market. Now, obviously, SPY got a massive pump today. Meme stocks did get a green day today as predicted in yesterday's video. AMC did confirm, okay, I told you guys we'd have to come back down to 297. 296 and then bounce from that. I did have predictions up for that from yesterday's video. We got that bounce and pushed up here for AMC, and then we broke above $3 and closed above $3, confirming that level. We actually closed at 302 here at time of recording. Now, the key for AMC is if we can break above 303. If we can break above 303, all of this barcoding and stuff like that, that should end. If we can break and hold 303, we should start getting a little bit more volume, a little bit more momentum, and start moving up. Also, GameStop as well, getting dangerously close to the gap fill, guys. You guys can see this gap fill starts here at 24.30, okay? And this gap fills on the daily time frame. It is going to get filled potentially as early as this week. Yes, we could start filling it as early as tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, but we have to break above $24. So I think between Friday, tomorrow, and then next week, this gap is going to begin getting filled. It could be a little bit more into next week, but if we see GameStop break and hold $24 tomorrow, it should be able to get a decent move up, especially because they should have to hedge for some calls if that is the case, if we can break and hold $24. Now, because it is Friday, we do have to worry about max pain on both of the meme stocks. So we're going to go ahead and check out GME max pain and AMC max pain, giving you guys the information there on what's going on for these two stocks. So AMC's max pain is going to be $3. So they're going to work very hard to try to push it down towards that level. Now, if we are able to close above $3, that means we beat the market makers, ladies and gentlemen, and we could see a bullish week next week. The battle for AMC is going to be holding and maintaining $3, and of course, if we can break above 303, we should see a decent pop to the upside if we can break and hold that support and resistance level. Now, as far as GME is concerned, and you guys know Friday is one of the most manipulated stocks for the meme stocks, GME's max pain at time of recording is sitting at 23.50. So they're going to try to push it underneath 23.50. Again, they don't want the 23.50 calls in the money. So price targets for AMC is going to be, if you're a market maker, they're going to want to try to get AMC at 298, 299, right underneath $3, making that max pain price close as possible without putting those $3 calls in the money. And on GameStop, since the GameStop max pain is 23.50, they're going to try to get us towards 23.49, 23.48. Now, I think both AMC and GME will actually be able to beat their max pain prices tomorrow based off of the technicals I'm looking here. GME was actually able to confirm 23.50 as support, and if you see GME maintain these levels of like 23.75, 23.88, you're going to see it push for $24. What I'm actually expecting here tomorrow in the pre-market and morning session is a little bit of excitement pushing to the upside, as SPY will probably rally as well. Then you're going to see a pullback to the downside using 23.75 as support. And if we can maintain that level as support, we're going to move towards $24. And if we can hold 24, you should start to see GME start to move up a lot more rapidly. And of course, if we head into the gap fill at 24.30, there is little to no support and resistance there. So we'll start pushing up really nicely if we can get into that gap fill starting at 24.30, going all the way to 28.47. I believe between tomorrow and next week, this gap is going to start getting filled, in my personal opinion. GameStop and our overall uptrend, bullish momentum is building. This looks good for GameStop to recover. I know a lot of people got devastated by this big move down after we got as high as 37.49. But if this tells me anything, it tells me that shorts are desperate, ladies and gentlemen. We got a new short interest report. Look how crazy this is. Approaching 2020 and 2021 levels of short interest here for GME. 19.46% short interest for GME at 7.30 days to cover. That's absolutely insane. If shorts were to get squeezed with 19% short interest, that would be a huge short squeeze. Why are you shorting a stock that is literally sitting on $9 billion in cash, ladies and gentlemen, and also 4,100 plus BTC? Now, people are asking me, what do I think they're going to be doing with all of this cash? In my personal opinion, there's two things that they could be doing. I think the main thing they're going to do is probably buy more Bitcoin, but acquisitions are on the table. Now you guys can see they did raise more money using those convertible notes. So this is bullish, and I do believe they will be using this money to potentially buy Bitcoin and BTC, and that could make GameStop again a much greater long-term hold. And this is why I think the shorts are absolutely terrified, as if they were to buy more Bitcoin and Bitcoin price start going up, they could easily pay off all of their debt and come out profitable. Also, GME is a profitable company, ladies and gentlemen. So the fact that they are shorting even more right now as the price goes up shows me they are absolutely desperate. They've been shorting on this stock heavily. Price is still going up. And if they are to start losing shorting pressure, which I think they are, especially if cost of borrow starts going up, this stock will start to move up rapidly. Also, some things might be going on in the background that we might not really be seeing, because FTDs are starting to pick back up. So liquidity could be drying up again in the background. We also had the cost of borrow spike here for GME. Now it came back down, but if you see that cost of borrow spike and remain elevated, you're going to see price move up as well. This spike in cost of borrow shows me that liquidity could be getting tight. You guys can see the white volume candles. They've been shorting a lot, trying to keep this stock down, but that brings the short interest higher, digging their hole deeper. So I'm actually very excited for what we could see here on GME coming up in the next couple of months, especially as we start to recover and head back into this gap fill. If GME starts heading back towards $30, it's going to be a major problem for the shorts. And of course, if we break and hold $30, you guys know we will start to move. As last time we broke above 30s, look how fast we got to pop to the upside. So once we start breaking 30, we can really start to see this thing pop off. But they always try to keep us underneath 30 because they are fighting a constant battle. So that's what we're looking at for GME. Again, tomorrow, I think we're going to be using $23.75 as support and actually pushing towards $24 in my personal opinion. And if we are able to do that on a Friday, you could see a decent green day, like 5%, maybe even higher if we can get back up into that gap fill at $24.30. Now, AMC is also going to need GME to move up as well. I'm not saying that AMC needs GME, but they need to move up together. AMC is confirming its bottom. And just like last time when it had a falling wedge, you guys can see we had this falling wedge here where we kind of had to go sideways, but we made higher lows. You guys can see here's your low. Then we made a higher low, and then we rallied. This is the same thing that's happening now. We have this falling wedge. You guys can see we made a low. We're making higher lows. AMC is going to start working its way up and begin the rally. But the main thing is we need to confirm 303 as support. That way we can start moving towards 312 and then heading back towards AMC's gap fill at 325 to 328, which I do believe it's going to be doing. And if AMC can get back to $4 to $5, then that's also going to put an extreme amount of pressure on the shorts. And it looks like what we're setting up here for the macro, and again, I know the macro disappoints people because it takes time, it takes weeks, it takes months, but what it looks like we're setting up here on the macro is it looks like both AMC and GME are going to move up in conjunction, putting a ton of pressure on the shorts. I also think one of the reasons why they're pumping SPY so much right now is that things are so bad. The writing's on the wall. GDP actually came out negative, and I'll break it down a little bit more, that if SPY were to pull back, margin calls would be happening almost immediately. So that's why I think they're working so hard to keep SPY pumped up. Now, this is just a theory in my personal opinion, but I believe that if SPY were to absolutely capitulate, you could see margin calls that causes a possible rally or squeeze in the meme stocks. Again, this is just my personal opinion and theory. This is what I'm looking at for the meme stocks. Again, remember, they're going to be trying to get us max pain tomorrow. As far as news is concerned, GME sitting on a ton of cash, potentially about to buy more BTC. Look out for those box office hits coming. We do need to see the box office pick up a little bit more for AMC, as the numbers are not performing as well as we expected, but there's still a lot of movies coming out. But you guys know I always keep it 100 with you guys and look at fundamental and technical data. That's what we're looking at for AMC and GME. Let's go ahead and move into SPY in the overall market and show you guys what's going on there. Now, guys, girls, ladies and gents, GDP came out negative, and it came out worse than expected, ladies and gentlemen. It came out at 0.5% negative, which means the economy is contracting. Last GDP report also came out negative as well. This is confirmation that the economy is contracting. Now, I'm not saying this to scare you guys. I'm saying this to prepare you guys. Just like I said, how the conflicts in the Middle East and Ukraine and stuff like that could lead to bigger things, which they eventually did. I'm telling you guys this because if we were to see a drawdown after this big pop up, you could buy assets for the low if you are prepared and then run up huge, massive gains. Now, if this doesn't scream exit liquidity to you, I do not know what will. You cannot just keep ignoring the fundamental data. The fundamental data is literally showing us that the economy is contracting, and yet SPY is acting completely irrational, and a lot of people are confused by this. This is because, and this is just my personal theory, I believe that they're using this pump to sell on anybody that's willing to buy at these high valuations. I believe that this is exit liquidity, and I believe that smart money is actually exiting their positions and dumping onto retail at this point. Now, where SPY can go from here, if SPY is able to break above and hold 613, okay, 613, you could see another pop to the upside. I'm expecting us to retest that tomorrow, probably coming as high as 613.50 or 614, and then I'm expecting a pullback. So in the morning, I think we'll see some excitement pre-market where we go up as high as 613, 614. Then we'll probably pull back down to like 612, finding support. And if we're able to hold 612, we could continue higher. But right now, RSI is getting so overbought and SPY is getting outside of the bands. So at this point, if SPY doesn't keep pushing up and keep going up using higher highs and higher lows, then it's going to crash back down very, very hard. So if you are up on calls massively, you want to put a stop loss on, not financial advice, because when this thing does pull back, it's going to pull back hard. Also, we're starting to build bearish divergence here on the daily time frame. RSI is trending down as price trends up. Last time we seen this happen on the weekly time frame, everybody thought the market would go up forever, but I called this massive 21% drawdown. As RSI was trending down, price was trending up. I told you SPY will flatten out and correct down, and that's similar to what you're going to see now. So if SPY does start to flatten out and not able to push up, it is going to make a big correction down. Also, we have multiple gap fills here on the daily time frame. These gap fills go very, very low, all the way down to about 500, and these are on the daily time frame. These gaps will get filled. So I know people are very, very excited about this, and I definitely think you can make money off of this, but you gotta keep your head on it straight. You can also see here, right now, we're outside of the bands on the daily time frame. So again, if SPY doesn't keep pushing up and keep this momentum, it's going to snap back down, as it is overextended on the bands and on the RSI as well. RSI on the daily time frame starting to get overbought at 69.86. Anything over 70 is overbought. And then of course, if we go down to the 4-hour time frame, RSI is extremely overbought. 2-hour time frame, RSI is extremely overbought. Yes, I do think we could see a slight more upside, but I think we're going to pull back down in my personal opinion, but this might not happen until next week. If we go ahead and look at SPY max pain, you guys will see that SPY's max pain is actually to the downside right now. As you guys can see, SPY's max pain is at 605. So again, I could see some bullishness here in the beginning of the day, but I think by the end of the day, you're going to see some algos and traders taking profits. So I think we're going to come up pre-market, drop down, find support, then you'll probably push up a little bit higher, and then start to sell off in the close. And that's what I think we could see, in my personal opinion, based off of my analysis here for SPY. So this is what I'm looking at for SPY in the overall market. Again, you cannot ignore fundamental data. We do have a data drop tomorrow as well. Core PCE is going to be dropping, so that's going to be a huge one. That's going to be at 8:30. Watch for that, because this will determine the market's movements. Also, personal income month over month and personal spending month over month, these all drop at 8:30 pre-market. So look for volatility around that time. If you see the market start to move down, that could give a bearish overtone for the day. And if you see the market start to move up, that could give a bullish overtone for the day. But But remember, if you see big gaps up in the morning, that normally means you're going to see a sell-off right during market open. If you see a big sell-off down, that normally means you see a recovery during market open. So just be prepared for those types of movements. This is what I'm looking at for SPY in the overall market. Also, I just want to quickly look at NASDAQ here as well. Again, just completely unsustainable. NASDAQ, as far as Webull is concerned, did not make a new all-time high as yet. And on TradingView, its SPY, it says it's not at a new all-time high as yet. So I'm expecting major resistance here for SPY around 613, 614 in my personal opinion. And again, if this thing doesn't keep going up, it's going to snap back down hard. This is what we're looking at for SPY in the overall market. Let's go ahead and move into BTC and crypto, and then we will be wrapping up this video. So Bitcoin still tracking along with this fractal. Again, remember I said on the micro we could see some pullback, especially if Bitcoin's not able to break back above the 109 level. So Bitcoin has to break above 109.5 and hold that level as support to see a decent move up. What the fractal is saying potentially could happen is we use that 109 as resistance, and then we actually make a move down, coming back down to the liquidity zone of like 90 to 100K, and then use that liquidity zone to make a move up towards that 115, 125 price target, which I believe will come before 2026. So again, if you do see some downside here in the short term, don't be alarmed for BTC, as it could be a potential shakeout. We do have buy orders sitting at about 100K. So I don't see any reason why we would break underneath 100 to 90K. I think we're going to use 90 to 100K as a floor. So I don't see any reason why we would be breaking down below that, in my personal opinion. Now the fractal's tracking very, very well. You guys can see that again. It shows it's consolidating here, using 109 as resistance, coming down to like 90K, and then starting pushing our way up where we break over that all-time high, potentially getting that peak. And once we hit that peak, this is when altcoin season most likely will come. Once Bitcoin makes a new all-time high. Again, I say this pretty much every single video because you need to watch the Bitcoin dominance. If Bitcoin dominance is sitting at 62.8%, you're not going to see an altcoin season. And when Bitcoin dominance is this high, it's literally going to control the market. If Bitcoin pumps, altcoins will pump. If Bitcoin dumps, altcoins will dump. If Bitcoin's just ranging, then you'll see altcoins have a mixed bag, which is what you're seeing right now today. Bitcoin's kind of ranging right now, consolidating between like 106, 108, and that's why you're seeing a mixed bag here for the altcoins. As far as altcoins are concerned, some top projects I think are going to do very well. Some coins like ADA, XRP, I think are going to do fire. Algorand, Polygon, I think are going to do good during this altcoin season. But again, me personally, I hold 50% Bitcoin, 50% altcoins, and I don't really fool with meme coins, in my personal opinion. I know you hear those stories where people get rich off of meme coins, but that is very few and far between. You literally have a better chance at winning the lottery, especially if you're not a very, very skilled trader. I'm not saying it's not possible, but me personally, I like to keep my risk minimized, so I mostly focus on Bitcoin and altcoins. If you guys have any altcoins you want to see me cover in the crypto section, let me know and we can do some technicals for them. But we might see a drawdown here in the crypto market before a new all-time high. So just be prepared for that. I think crypto is completely decoupled from stocks. I don't see any reason why crypto would crash if the stock market were to crash and pull back. You guys can see that stocks are pumping up right now. Crypto's not pumping up. I think crypto is completely decoupled from stocks. If we do get this bill passed that Trump's trying to get passed, you could see a lot of money flowing into crypto. So just keep an eye on this crypto bill that Trump's trying to get passed. As if we do get this passed, you could see a ton of money flowing into crypto and BTC. So that's what we're looking at for crypto and the overall stock market. This was your daily outlook and prediction for stocks and crypto. If you found this video informative, go ahead and drop a like, press subscribe for more content like this, and I appreciate each and every one of you because I couldn't be here without you. If you guys want to support the channel in a different way, you guys can check out the merch store. We do have a merch store linked in the comment section in the description below. I'm rocking some of the merch right now, and we also have a Discord as well. The Discord is where I give out exclusive technicals, exclusive buy signals, sell signals, information like that. So if you want to check that out, you guys can as well. It's $100 for a lifetime invite. All merch sales go directly to help support the channel. And if you want to check out my live streams, I go stream live during market hours. So if you want to check that out, put the bell notification on. If you want to support for absolutely free, all you got to do is hit that like button, subscribe. And if you made it this far, thank you so much, because watching to the end of the video helps me out immensely. As always, y'all, have fun, stay safe, make money. Peace out.